In this video, we are going to be talking about the French film Any Number Can Win, which stars Alain, Delon, Gabin, and was directed by Henri Verneuil. I hope I didn't butcher that. This is Steve Chambers' movie pick today. Is it a movie, or is it a film, or is it both? Let's find out right now.
Give me a movie to eat popcorn to.
I don't watch any of that trash. Let me put it this way. I watch film for adults. We are Movie versus Film, a film education and movie review channel. My name is Robert Bellissimo. I am the film guy.
I'm Steve Chambers. I'm the movie guy.
And if this is your first time here, or if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking on the red watermark subscribe button that I am pointing to on the bottom right of your screen, and then click the bell in order to get a notification every time we release a new video or go live. So the way this is going to work, folks, is we each have a scorecard with 5 points on it. Steve has a movie scorecard, which he has created to score his movie film. 5 points. I have my film scorecard that I have created with 5 points. So in order for this to be considered both a movie and a film, it has to get an overall score of 8 out of 10. If it gets anything under 8, it will be only considered a movie.
So this is a rare one. I'll tell you why. Right off the bat, you'd think that this would go against being a movie altogether. It's got subtitles. The plot, according to Google or IMDb or whatever, I didn't make this up, released from prison, an aging gangster and another ex-con plan to rob a casino. There you go. Let's just pull up my criteria to make it a movie right here. Okay.
Here we go.
Here's what we got. Coolness. You know, feel. Did I feel anything? Did it emotionally grab me? Clear story. Guess what that means? Entertaining. Was it entertaining, or at the very least captivating? Or was it a puzzle I had to read my way through? And finally, wow factor. What would it leave me feeling at the end? So let's look at this. So number one, for Any Number Can Win, coolness. It's cool. The whole thing's cool. There would be no Ocean's 11, at least the Clooney version, if it wasn't for this, because I think the Sinatra version was probably made before this, and that's a hell of a lot more boring than Any Number Can Win. It's cool. It looks good. Crisp black and white. There's French Riviera casinos, tuxedos, Alain Delon with cool hair. He is cool. He opens with the leather jacket and the cigarette, and he's just a badass. And Jean Gabin is, you know, you're kind of more logical, stoic, I've been around the block kind of guy. They're a great team, right? The young, kind of cocky hotshot. You've seen this in many, many, many Hollywood films. And the older, wiser, more kind of calm, staid man. So this did it all, man. It's cool. It's got good music. It's fun to watch. Next, feel. Did I feel anything? Yeah, I felt some. It was funny, and it was tense. Feel. Did I feel anything? Yes. It was fun. It was funny. During the big heist, it's shot kind of in real time, and you do feel some tension. You're with Alain Delon the whole time. The whole thing's silent during that, and you're just engrossed. I mean, it's really cool. I'm definitely feeling that. I'm not puzzled and sitting back. I'm in it. So yeah, feel. Totally. Next, clear story, 100%. They explain it. I mean, we follow a guy get out of prison. He openly says to his wife who wants him to go straight, like, no, I got to pull off one last con, one last heist. You see him go to get a guy, and one guy's not available, and he gets turned on to another guy because he needs a team. He gets a team, and Alain Delon, it's his brother-in-law, I think. And they explain, I mean, they map the whole thing out. They map the plan out, and we watch it unfold. And so, yes, it is a clear story. Entertaining or captivating? 100%. 100%. It's an entertaining movie. That's it. It's totally a piece of entertainment. And that doesn't mean that it's got to be a piece of fluff or it's empty or it's no good. No, it's a really fun, well executed piece of entertainment. And finally, wow factor. Yeah, man, this ended in such a way, I don't want to spoil it, but not quite the way you might think. And you're just like, oh, and you do feel a, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, and then credits, and it's real well done, real cool. I absolutely give it all 5 popcorn marks. It is a 5 out of 5 popcorn movie. This is, any number can win, 100% a movie. On to the film guy.
So now let's jump into our film scorecard and see how it holds up as a film. Let's pop up that scorecard. Pop! There it is. Let's just read it out before we jump in. We've got complexity, emotional, strong acting, ambiguous, and life questions. So first up is complexity. Is this film complex? No. It is very cut and dry. The motivations are simple. Everyone is after robbing this casino. And as Steve said, they map out this plan and they follow it with some, yes, bumps along the road, which ultimately they tackle head on. And so it is as clear as day. There's nothing complex about it. Emotional, I'm going to give it half for emotional. I would say that about 3/4 of the film is you get introduced to the characters, you find out who they are, you get you see the plan, you go along with the plan, so you're connecting the dots. So it's mental. You are processing the information, you are checking off what you need to know about the plot. I'm not being brought into the world on an emotional level. However, I would say that the last 15 minutes are very emotional because when things, I won't spoil exactly what happens because it's such a brilliant set piece when you think everything has gone totally fine for this heist and there's just one slip that suddenly makes the whole plan basically go to shit, so to speak. And when you see them nearly get caught, like I was biting my shirt. I mean, I was really like, oh my God, it's a nail biter. And it was very, very emotional. You felt like you were those guys because you've been following the plan the whole time. You are basically on their side. You are seeing it from their point of view and no one else's. So I felt like, God, I may go to jail. I may get caught. So I'm going to give it half of a coffee cup for emotional. Strong acting, yes. I really like Delon. And Delon's, I think if that character wasn't written in a way which made him questionable, because the older gentleman, you know exactly what he's about. He's by the books. He's very strategic. He's calm. He's cool, and everyone else just has to follow his plan. But Delon is a bit of a flaky guy. You know, you see him off the top, and he's like this, you know, kind of petty thief. He's done a bit of jail time, and he's living with his mother. He's conning his mother out of getting some money. He's, I mean, I don't think I'd go on a big bank heist with this guy who's a little, but at the same time, there's qualities about Delon. I think just in the way what he brings to it is that you're not quite sure. You know he's flaky, but you sort of see it from Jean Gabin's point of view, where he saw something in him that knew that he was capable because he needed a team. He couldn't, at his age, Jean Gabin could not be pulling off this on his own. And when people watch the film, the way it's executed, you need a young guy or someone, physically able to be climbing through walls and jumping on elevators to get into this safe. So I thought that was really well done, because I think if Delon was a very capable guy, it would have been an extremely dull movie. It would have been like, okay, they're gonna pull it off and that's it. But the whole film, I'm like, I don't know about this guy. Also, he was getting really wrapped up in the relationship with the woman and that was just part of the plan in order to get backstage. It was to find a way to get backstage. So they found a way by, okay, well, I'll pick up one of the dancers in the show. And he's getting really wrapped up with her. Like, I'm like, are you forgetting this is a con? You know? And I think he was. So I'm like, you're kind of going back and forth with him. But he was great. I also really liked the actor who played the brother-in-law, who was basically along for the ride, who was the chauffeur. Because he didn't seem like someone who would go along with this. I mean, he was complaining early on about lack of money. So his motivation was simple, but I liked how in the end he just couldn't go. He went through with it, but he didn't want any of the money. So he was just too clean cut. And I thought the actor who played that part was really, really good. But these three guys are, 90% of the movie. There are some smaller parts, but I thought they were all just a perfect team. And they were all distinctive and clear, and I thought did really, really well. Ambiguous, it is not ambiguous at all. I mean, there is a sort of 50-50 at the end about whether they could still get caught, but you can toss a coin. There's not really much to ponder or interpret other than what the director shows you. Again, the whole story, it's very simple motivations, simple objectives, simple goals, simple characters, and we see only so much about them that we need to, that is part of this plot. So I'm not going to give it the ambiguous coffee cup. And life questions, I am also not going to give it anything about life questions. It is, as Steve said, it is an entertaining bank heist. It doesn't ask any questions about life. We're not censoring around psychology of relationships or human relationships or people struggling with different day-to-day things that relate to us. It's an entertaining piece. I really enjoyed it. If I put my movie hat on, I really enjoyed it. If I'm a pure film person, I think it's okay. So with that being said, it gets a 1.5 coffee cup score from me, which means altogether, it is a 6.5 out of 10. Didn't meet the 8 out of 10 marks, which means it is a pure movie, folks.
And I couldn't agree with you more on all your points. Oh, I wanted to say that actor who plays the brother-in-law, his name is Maurice Biraud, or I don't know, Biraud.
Okay.
Maurice
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, he was really
him.
good. And he's maybe offers the only kind of like deep, I don't know, deep, but whatever, more thoughtful moment when he says to Gabin, like, hey, you know what? I'll do the job, but I don't want to get paid. Why don't you want to get paid? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll still do the job, but if I get paid, I'm going to realize how easy it is to make money this way. And I'm going to want more. And I'm going to go back to my brother-in-law and I'm going to ask for more jobs like this. Eventually I'll get pinched and all that. I'm going to end up in jail just because I wanted to make a bit of money off this. No. So he takes this odd, albeit perhaps unrealistic moral high ground. But I thought it was kind of neat because everyone else is like you say, it's cut and dry. Like, I want the money. How do I get the money? I do this. This guy's like, you know what? I like my simple life at the garage, so I'll just stick with that. When Gabin and Alain Delon's character meet for the first time and are shooting pool, no one sinks a shot. Like, you watch Gabin line up a shot, and you just
I didn't even notice that.
Well, and I don't think you're not supposed to, but I'm positive it's intentional because, like, you know, the trope, the cliche is you meet in a seedy bar, the gangsters, and if they're shooting pool, you know, as they talk their cool plan, you hear boom, you know, side pocket, corner pocket. These guys just keep shooting pool, smoking cigarettes, miss every shot. And I don't think it's an accident. I think we're saying, like, this heist isn't going to be as easy or as smooth. And you said they do hit a few bumps on the way. It's not going to be as smooth as you think.
You know, when you think of heist films and you think of villains, like the first thing that comes to mind is the movie that I do really like is Heat. But you know, all the quote unquote bad guys, Robert De Niro and his crew, they're all pretty straight laced, with the exception of maybe Val Kilmer's character.
Yeah.
But they're very capable, and here we saw some differences. That's what I thought was really interesting with Delon's character, was that he was a guy living with his mother, and I thought, why is he picking this guy? But there was something about him where you thought he could he was pretty good. Even the older
Yeah,
gentleman, the Jean
Gabin.
Gabin, Gabin was. When you see him up the top, his wife's like, "What are you doing? You just got out of jail. Go get a job. You know, you were complaining about wages but yet you'll go and work in jail for free. You know,
Right,
whatever, making shirts for free. It's like you're not making any sense. So
right.
that showed, like there was more flaws about them. You got to know them more. You saw them at,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, even
I
though it was brief, but you got more of an idea of who they are.
I
Whereas a lot
agree.
of these movies, it's like they're cut and dry. They're perfect bad guys.
They're
You
perfect bad
know.
guys. That's it. And I think to answer your Delon question, like you asked, a good question, like why this guy who's, a hoodlum laying around, we're introduced to him at his mom's house in a leather jacket, boots on in bed, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, we get it. You're cool. But why pick that guy? Well, because, to execute this plan, and part of the plan, I'm not giving too much away, is to have someone has to go ahead of the rest of the small crew to
Yeah.
pose as a playboy, a rich guy in this, French Riviera casino to kind of get the feel of the place. You got to kind of insinuate yourself in there, and so you want to pose as this high roller. And
And also to get
Delon's
backstage,
character
right?
to get
To get
backstage,
backstage.
and
Yeah.
Delon's character is cocky enough that I think Gabin would immediately be like, yeah, this guy will believe. He will actually believe he's this, big deal high roller because he's arrogant. He knows he's pretty. So okay, so and he works, but ironically, that arrogance is also sort of his downfall. And as you
Yeah.
touched on,
Exactly. Exactly.
it's chasing the girls is
Yeah.
something that
He's got
doesn't
that juvenile, and that was ultimately
yeah.
what. Because I kept thinking, like, ultimately when it looked as though they were going to get away, I kept thinking, well, then what was really the point of this whole relationship with him getting wrapped up in that relationship? And then, of course, I won't spoil it, but in the end, you see what the point of it was, and it worked really well to tell this story. I mean, nothing is just for the sake of a character development. I mean, it was all crafted to push the story forward and sort of tie it up in the end. So
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed that.
True to character, true to form, Alain Delon in life really wanted this role. The producers wanted the actor Jean-Louis Torrante. I forget how you say his name. Trantagnan. Anyway, a more like quote unquote serious actor. And Delon, while he was in a lot of films up to this point, right? Like he was in Le Clisson,
Yeah, he was
he was
in
in Rocco and his
Visconti's.
brothers,
Yeah,
Plein Soleil or Purple Noon. Like everything was just sort of morally ambiguous, very serious, dour.
yeah,
And
very
Delon
emotional stuff.
campaigned for this role because he wanted a commercial movie. He wanted, like, he was only doing films. He's like, I need a movie. I want to make, there's probably some money in that. And the producer's like, yeah, dude, you're just not the guy. And they, he kept, I want this, I want this. And
Yeah,
eventually it got to the point like, well, if you want it so bad, do it for free. And he basically went, okay, you don't have to pay me up front, but I want a cut of the back end. I want a percentage of the box office. I want money off the back end. This you hear all the time now,
yeah,
but at least in France, and maybe certainly it wasn't that common, if common at all in America, but certainly in France it wasn't. And Delon was the first guy to do this,
yeah,
to kind of act almost like a producer, like I'll work for free or scale or whatever, but I want points. And it worked out for him because the film was a big success and he
yeah,
made a lot of money, and it did open the door for him to be one of those guys, who kind of live the actor's dream that can alternate between the deeper film and the more fun movie.
yeah.
And he kind of would continue that throughout his career. He did do high profile movies, and he did do, kind of more thought pieces. And I think he's very well suited for both.
I believe also the producers didn't also weren't interested in him because he was only really known in Italy and France, and they really wanted to push this in the States because it was
That's
such an
right.
American sort of story. Like I think MGM put money in this as well, so
Well, I
they
think,
thought, well, let's get
yeah, they
some.
were the distributor, if not the producer, right?
Yeah,
Like this is a
yeah,
studio movie. Yeah.
yeah.
An
Which
American
and that's
studio.
the thing. I mean, and you touched on this earlier. It's like when people think of foreign movies, they think that they're all quote unquote art films.
Right.
And sure, like that may tend to be more of what their first instinct is or what they're really good at, as
Yeah.
opposed to with the Americans, it's flipped. You know, there's some people really good at complex films, but mostly people are good at entertaining films. And but that being said, there are a number of foreign movies that are very, very Hollywood, that these guys were very influenced by
Mhm.
Hollywood film, and you see that especially with Jean-Pierre Melville, who Delon
Oh
worked with
yeah.
a lot as well. Yeah, they might have subtitles, but if you can get over that, you'll see very similar things that you saw in the States, and if not better. Like I thought
Yeah.
like this was a really good heist movie, and I think
Yeah.
it, you know, any great American one, I don't see them being that much better than this.
No, I agree with
You
you.
know, and if anyone hasn't seen this movie, I believe it's only available on the Criterion channel. So if you can get that subscription, if you haven't had it, don't have it, they have a 2-week free trial where you can see it there. It's a fantastic service. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Again, if this is your first time here, or if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking on the Coffee with Aliens logo floating above my head to your top left. You'll see that there in a second. And then click the bell in order to get a notification every time we release a new video or go live. Thank you so much again. We'll see you next time.